Hey everyone, it's Daniel here from etfs. Hope you're all doing well. So there's a video out there on YouTube, and I'll link it in description for you to watch it. But it basically is a video titled 3 Reasons Home Prices Will Fall by 50% or More. And this basically comes out from George Gammon, popular guy on YouTube. You could check out his video there and see what you think about his arguments. Now, a lot of the arguments were around that this demand crunch, this issue with the mortgages and the rates and whatnot. And his theory his belief is that inflation's going to stay around for a long time. It's going to stick around for a long time. And because of this, inflation is going to stick around for a long time. This is going to be really bad because rates are going to skyrocket. And Jerome Powell is like, Paul Volcker, the next Paul Volcker that's going to push rates really high. And that's just going to create the real estate market to completely crash 50% or more. Now, that's if you believe inflation is here to stay for, let's say, 5+ years or more. And if that's the case and inflation is not coming down and it's sticking around, then the Fed and the central banks may have to do more in terms of raising rates and really crash the economy. If that's the case, then sure, you could argue that, there would be massive sell-offs. There would be people selling off their properties and it would be very, very ugly. Right? Especially the investors who, during COVID 2020, in the time when there was all kinds of stimulus money and money printing, they went out and they bought not one property but multiple properties, and they over levered. And sure, you could see them also panic sell, and if they have to sell at any cost or at any price, that's what's going to cause the prices to come down. However, that's the demand side of things. What about the supply side? And he mentions it in the video as well, saying that the supply side, definitely there is an issue there. If the supply side continues to be tight and it's constrained, then in my opinion, then it would be very difficult to cause and bring those prices down unless there is this really rude awakening, this really hard crash, this hard landing, and the markets just go tumbling down. Then sure, that would bring in more supply. But what if it doesn't, right? What if it doesn't? What if, inflation does come down? What if you get your typical recession, the hard landing, the unemployment rate skyrockets? Sure, you get some people selling their houses in the markets, causes the prices to come down, but not 50%. Let's just say 30%, right? Prices come down 30%. Okay, that's a good crash, correction, whatever you want to call it. And that's healthy enough, especially after seeing what happened during 2020, 2021 with all these housing prices and these meme stocks and Bitcoin and crypto and all of this just going to the moon, right? So we need to see some sort of mean reversion, price correction there. But, with this mindset that this 50% crash or more is going to happen, you're basically pricing in something really, really ugly. But if I were to say base case for me is that, okay, 30% makes sense. Hike, the unemployment rate goes up, right? And inflation eventually does come down, because when you do get this hard recession, hard landing, according to history, you see that inflation does come down when that happens, right? But if it doesn't, and it's still up there, and we don't get this recession, then they may have to do, the Fed may have to do, the central bank may have to do more and more and more. And if it is true that we have to, and inflation is staying around for longer than we expected, and the Fed has to hike rates to not 6%, but 8%, let's just say, then definitely something's going to break, and something is going to really, hit the shit's going to hit the fan, is what I'm trying to say, right? Shit's going to hit the fan, and yes, something's going to break, something's going to implode, and then that's going to bring the inflation down? And could it be that brings inflation down, that 50% drop? Maybe, maybe not, right? The other argument that you could see in terms of housing prices coming down is commercial real estate, right? We've been hearing all around people talking about commercial real estate is next, it's going to implode, this is going to happen, the banks are going to feel the pain, and these commercial property investors are going to feel the pain. Now, if you take all the commercial property out there, the offices and whatnot, let's say that happens, right? It implodes and it crashes and everything goes wrong there. And if those can turn into residential units, the only question is, how fast would it happen, right? But let's just say in this scenario, it turns into residential units overnight, and you now have an inflow of, boom, inventory there. Then yes, sure, it makes sense. Housing prices to come down. You not only have a demand crunch, but also you have the supply side where the commercial side of things is feeding into and now being allowed as residential, and these are coming on to the market. And sure, now you have boatload of supply. If that's the case, then sure, you can argue that yes, home prices are going to drop, way more than expected, because you just got this flurry of inventory that just came out of nowhere from the commercial side. Could that be a possibility? Sure, definitely. But again, how fast would it be to turn those commercial properties into residential? Would any builder take that project on? How long would it take? And if it's going to take a long time, then maybe that's not the case. Then maybe prices are not really going to drop that hard. Or in fact, maybe prices are just going to stagnate and over time come down lower because you're getting this inventory to show up one by one over time. So a little bit hard to predict that, yeah, this 50% crash is definite, it's going to happen. Maybe he's right, maybe he's not. Time will tell. But it's very hard to make that argument depending on which area you live in, right? US might be a different story. But if I were to talk about, let's say, Canadian real estate market and Toronto in particular, with inventory being so tight, we need to see those inventory numbers to go up to start seeing those prices to come down. And can it happen? I'm not saying it can't happen. Definitely it can happen. But would want to see those inventory numbers to go up, whether people are panic selling, there's an inflow of panic selling, whether this commercial property is turning to residential, whatever the case may be, right? Yes, you're going to get the demand crunch, but also want to see the supply side also go up in order for those prices to come down. So we'll really see what happens. Let me know what you guys think. Leave a comment below, subscribe, hit the like button, bell icon to be notified on the next video, and I'll see you guys around. Cheers. Bye.